An efficient night of shooting for you. Just how did it feel to kind of, take the lid off the basket tonight?
Yeah, it felt good. I think the biggest thing was just going out here and playing against someone new. You've been playing against the same guys since, June, so it's just good to get some new competition in here. And I think we played well as a team, but there's a lot of stuff we still have to fix, and, we got another scrimmage coming up, and then Oakland comes up pretty quick, and then once the season starts, we're rolling. So it's exciting times, and, just to be able to shoot, just to be able to play someone else is good for us.
What are some of those things to fix from your eyes?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was offensive rebound. I think throughout the course of the game we fixed it, but I think giving up so many old boards just to start was something that we talked about and we just didn't execute well. But I think once we get back to practice tomorrow, it's straight to it. I can just imagine what we're gonna do tomorrow, just offensive rebound wise. So fix those things, and then defensively just got to keep talking, keep communicating. But I think it's game one, if you even count this as a game, but exhibition one. And we just got to keep it rolling and keep building on what we worked on today.
The rebounding and Coach talked a little bit about some of the turnovers against their press. Are those things that you guys have really emphasized in preseason at this point? Are those issues that surprise you at all at this point?
I wouldn't say surprising. I just think, it's our first time playing live game. Dayton, they press and they like to get up and down. But we worked on it a few days. But I think just emphasizing it, probably Penn State's going to be the same way. Other teams like Iowa, I know they get into a press, and Michigan State maybe, but a lot of teams in the Big Ten will press, and most of them won't press. But I think turnover-wise, we just got to be better. We just got to be stronger with the ball, and then look for those outlets. And then rebounding-wise, that's the Big Ten. A lot of teams are going to crash. A lot of teams are going to come in. So we got to be able to, go out here and rebound the ball. And I think that's the biggest thing for us is just emphasizing that, constantly blocking out, constantly looking for a man, looking up to see where the ball is at, and making sure that we limit second chance points.
You had a sequence there in the first half. I think you got the ball in the lane and got it to Roddy, and he was able to lay it in. And then I think in the next couple of trips you hit a three-pointer. Maybe they didn't respect that you were going to pull the trigger on that. Just when you see a guy back off of you like that, what's going through your mind out there that it's there for you, I suppose?
Yeah, I think the thing, like you said, when they back off, I'm always looking for my shot. And I think Coach Holtman, he really emphasizes that for me. There was one time when I got in transition, probably had an open shot, didn't take it. And then the next immediate timeout, Coach had something to say to me just about not taking that shot. If you have an open transition three, you might as well shoot it. And I think that's something that I've prided myself on and I've worked on. But, I think that's the biggest thing for me is just when people press up is how do I create out of that, whether that's for myself or whether that's for the team. And I think that's something I've been working on this summer and working on this fall just to expand my game. And I think that's something I've been able to do, but it's doing it at a high level now.
What did you think about the ball movement of the offense and guys willing to take shots and looking for shots?
Yeah, I think the offense was really good. We've been working on the same stuff since the summer, and I think it's come to fruition now just with playing someone else, like I said earlier. But, I think there's still a lot of room to grow, and I think we all know that, and I think we're all ready to, keep attacking this thing. I don't think anyone here is satisfied with what we did today. Obviously, Dayton's a really, really good team, probably going to go through the A-10 and win it, I think. But, I think just about how we carry ourselves and how we look to improve out of games like this is something that we have to continuously think about. And I think that's something when you look at the Big Ten, it's night in, night out. You're going to face teams who are top 25 in the country, top 5 in the country at that. So it's just stuff like that where you can never be satisfied with what we have in this locker room. And I think that's the mentality that a lot of guys have.
Not just the on-the-court stuff, but everything that kind of went into this game. Like, what ultimately do you think you'll take out of this whole experience today?
Yeah, I think it's just, you look at what's gone on in Dayton and you look at what Coach Grant, just an unbelievable guy. I've known him since my freshman year playing here, actually, when they actually cut down the nets and held up the regular season trophy. So I've seen it all in this. And talking to Coach Grant, I think he's a great guy. And what the biggest thing is that you just take away is that mental health matters. And I think that's the biggest thing is that a lot of athletes, people look at them as athletes, not just as regular people. So I think the biggest thing for us is, don't be afraid to speak up. And I think that's something that, I've had my fair share of mental health issues, especially last year with what I was going through back home. But, it's just, you don't be afraid to speak up and don't be afraid to seek help. And I think that's something that a lot of athletes are starting to do now. I think we really saw it during COVID and during that NBA bubble with a lot of athletes who are struggling being in quarantine and only having basketball at that. So I think it's just, just expanding it and just making sure that if you need help or you're seeking out help, you get that help you need.
What's important for you in maintaining your own mental health?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just surrounding yourself with people who care about you. And at that, you want your circle to be small, but you want to bring in people and you want to have your teammates there to support you. And I think that's the type of group we have here that are going to support you regardless of what you're going through and always going to try to uplift you. So I think that's something that, me as a fifth year, seeing a lot of stuff and seeing a lot of stuff in the Big Ten, seeing a lot of stuff in the A-10, but, you know, just being there for one another. I think that's the biggest thing. And then mental health wise, you know, you just find outlets. You know, basketball is always going to be there for us, but I think it's just finding other stuff to do, whether that's, you know, playing video games, whether that's going golfing, just stuff like that where you're not just solely focused on basketball.
Jamison, that stretch at the start of the second half, I think it was maybe 6 turnovers on 7 possessions, but then Roddy knocks down the shot. Holman gets the timeout. What is that conversation like in the huddle after that shot and he calls timeout?
Yeah, I mean, I pinpoint that moment, but I think it's just, you know, how do we respond out of that? Like you said, 6 out of 7 possessions, we turned the ball over, but it's just about our response. You can't go back in the past and change things. You got to move forward and you got to look at the present. You can't worry about the future just because you can't control the future. You can control the future with the present actions that you have. So I think, like you said, it's just getting out there and just keep going. You know, you're obviously going to make mistakes. This is the first exhibition, but how are we going to learn from those mistakes is the question we got to ask ourselves. And I know we'll be right back at it tomorrow at film just to see what we can do, see what we can do to improve. So it's going to be a grind the rest of these next 2 weeks, but I'm really excited for what this team is capable of doing.